our relationship shows, and many other people's do too, by the way, we are not alone in our story, show that time is an illusion. Time is an illusion in all different ways, in your business, in your relationships, in your romantic relationship. There is no such thing as the right timeline. I know that so many people, because I hear it all the time, get really stuck on this timeline idea of, I'm running out of time. I've got to have kids. I'm 30 years old. I'm not married. I'm not this. Guys have it too, by the way. Yes, women have it more so from the biological perspective of babies. And I also want you guys to know that plenty of men have it too. If I'm a 30-year-old or I'm a 31-year-old, whatever it is, and blah, blah, blah. My fiance had it kind of, I don't know whether like full on timeline, but he had it in the way of like 31 years old, not married. I'm going to get the next round of divorces. So he literally said to me, and I'm pretty sure I can say this. I'll check this with him and I'll cut it out if I can't. He said to me that he literally gave up on the idea of kids because he was like, I'm too old. Like, I'm not going to meet anybody and blah, 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 which is really sad. Society does this to us. It does this idea that when you get to a certain age, like game over. Fuck that. Game not over. I know that I'm young, but he's not, well, he is young, but compared to me, he's 6 years older than me. So fuck what society says. Fuck a timeline. You don't have to be with somebody for this amount of years, then engaged for this amount of years, then married for this amount of years, then you can have a kid. You can do it however the hell you want. We're engaged just under 10 months in, and we're not going to get married for probably at least 2-ish years. Initially, before we even got engaged, we wanted to get married next year because we love each other so much. And it was like, why fucking wait? Well, now we need to fucking wait a little bit because we have had so much going on in this first year of our relationship with buying a house and then having to do all the, design stuff, and then all my things getting damaged with the moves. Then we have to get all these lawyers. And then next year I've got my event in Australia and we want to go traveling and blah, blah, blah. There's so many things going on, which is amazing. And so we actually decided, you know what? We want to enjoy next year. Let's enjoy next year because this year has been, getting to know each other. It's been the beginning of our relationship. Next year, it's going to just feel like we know each other. Let's just enjoy it. Let's enjoy the engagement. Let's enjoy this in between before we get married. What's the rush, What is the rush? So for some people, though, they'll get engaged and get married straight away or married within a year. Like, fuck a timeline. Do what feels right for you and your partner. And do what feels right for you as well. I was very like, we're getting married the end of next year is what we thought. And then it was actually before I even proposed, I went and did the business plan for next year in terms of like what we're launching when as like a rough plan. And I was like, babe, I'm sorry, we could not get married next year. And he was like, cool, that's fine. We don't want the pressure. We talked about it. We do not want the pressure. We want to be able to enjoy our wedding planning together. We want to be able to enjoy that season of life where we get to plan our wedding. We want to enjoy the wedding. I don't want to be worried about work stuff and blah, blah, blah. So fuck the timeline. If that's one thing that you can take from these episodes of part 1 and part 2, fuck the timeline. Because we literally moved in with each other basically from the get-go because we were always together. I left stuff at his house. He left stuff at my house. And obviously that also was because we lived in different states, so we had to kind of do the long distance. But we also didn't really do that much long distance because he could work remote. I could work remote up to a certain point. As some of you would know, I ended up having to leave New York and come to Atlanta by choice, of course, because he got a promotion and he couldn't work remote anymore. It had to be majority in the office or like on the ground in Atlanta. And he couldn't be like traveling as much, blah, blah, blah. Also, he has 2 dogs. I have 2 dogs. I mean, fuck, never do this to yourself. We don't love it. Like, we love our dogs, but 4 dogs is just too much. And we often ask ourselves, like, why do we both have 2 dogs? We were doing this on the weekend, actually, the other day of like, why the fuck do we both have 2 dogs? Why do we have 4? Like, what the hell? We honestly, people must just think we're crazy because we rock up to places with 4 dogs, which is just bloody hilarious. Anyway, point being is that, we moved in together. I left New York at the beginning of June. So I guess that's when we moved in together because we were then traveling for a few weeks because we had this like kind of dead time. We flew to Australia to surprise my parents, then went to Europe, as you guys would know if you were following my Instagram. And when we flew back from Europe, we flew back to Atlanta and we moved in together. Essentially, we were doing different Airbnb houses until we found our dream home and then, bought the house, blah, blah, blah. So we moved in pretty quickly compared to other people. And now we're engaged. And now we're going to take a little bit longer to get married compared to most people. A lot of people will get married within a year of getting engaged or just over a year. We're going to take a little bit more of our time.